From the Highlands of Scotland to the coast of Cornwall, the great British countryside is spectacular. But we work and play in it at our peril. And when things go wrong, the emergency services race to the rescue.
This chap is having a heart attack and we need to get him in quickly.
We've got a cow on the road. Countryside policing at its finest here.
Going hundreds of miles against the clock. Battling the elements and braving the waves. From fields and forests to cliffs and country roads, we'll be right at the heart of the action. With police fighting crime.
I'm not arguing it, I'm reporting you for it.
Paramedics saving lives. And lifeguards patrolling the seas. We're there as the emergency services pull together to pick up, patch up, and protect the public. This is Countryside 999. Coming up, in Dumfries and Galloway, an ambulance team desperately search for an elderly man who's had a serious fall.
Oh, this is a nightmare.
In Cornwall, it's double trouble for the air ambulance crew, called to 2 emergencies on the same beach.
We've let her go with the ambulance crew that's there. Now we can go and attend this other lady, which is just a bit further down the beach.
But first, they've got to clear the skies.
Attention, hang glider!
And not far away in Penzance, there's a touch of tenderness in the hospital's urgent care centre.
Let me know when it hurts. So apart from your... Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that hurt.
Dumfries and Galloway in southwest Scotland. Mile after mile of rolling countryside as far as the eye can see. But it's not all forest and farmland. There's also 200 miles of rugged coastline. In the summertime, it lures holidaymakers looking to stray off the beaten track. But for the emergency services, reaching the remote bays and beaches can be a tough ask. When disaster strikes, they rely on their GPS and local knowledge to get them where they need to be. And if both of those let them down, well, that's when the trouble really begins. Ambulance team Charlie Walker and Carol Ann McComb are on their way to an accident involving a holidaymaker in his 80s. He may have broken his hip after a fall on the beach. He can't move and the tide's coming in. Not a good situation. So Carol Ann's hoping the Coast Guards can get to him first. But they're already out on another job.
We asked Control if they had actually contacted the Coast Guard because obviously the beach and it's, you know, obviously their area. So just have to wait and see. They may arrive, they may not.
It looks like they're on their own. The crew have been told the casualty's on a beach called Seawood, supposedly close to the village of Borg. Not according to the sat-nav, it's not. Neither of them's heard of the beach before, so they're relying on their gadget to get them there. Unfortunately, beaches don't come with a postcode.
I think, according to our sat-nav, we're not going the right way. It's a maze of roads round about here. You're never sure if you're on the exact right one.
And we all know that feeling. But unhelpful sat-navs aren't the only problem facing country drivers.
Oh, man.
would only happen on a country road.
It's Seawood Beach down here. Seawood.
Seawood. Thanks a clue, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
It was not a location that we'd heard before, so therefore we weren't sure where we were going. So as a result, we were relying on the sat-nav which we have in the vehicle.
Time is really ticking away, and the patient is still without medical care.
Let's see if there's anybody.
I'll just take a quick run down there. Excuse me, sir. You haven't had any reports of someone falling at the beach, have you? Nothing at all.
It's now been almost an hour since the 999 call, and the tide is coming in.
There's nobody here. It's not here.
On the beach?
Yeah.
No, we've not had anything, that's
We've
why...
been from Carrick right along and we
Yeah.
can't locate them at all.
No.
Seawood Beach, I know we've got Seawood, but we've got
Yeah.
nothing.
No, we've not
No.
had anything.
Thanks.
I was starting to get, you're getting frustrated because you know the person requires your help, requires treatment, and they're lying on a shoreline and we're not getting there. And within yourself, you start to worry about how quickly am I going to manage to get there to aid this person.
This has turned into the kind of call-out ambulance crews dread.
Oh, this is a nightmare.
Cornwall, like Dumfries and Galloway, has a spectacular coastline. Sandy shores, awesome surf and stunning clifftop views. Smugglers' coves and secret beaches make perfect hideaways for holidaymakers. But it's got its fair share of hidden dangers. Sheer cliffs, strong undercurrents and fast incoming tides can easily catch out the unsuspecting tourist. The pretty nooks and crannies can become lethal traps. Cornwall's air ambulance plays a vital role in reaching those in trouble, responding to 3 or 4 emergencies every day.
Yeah.
On duty today, paramedic Mick McLaughlin has picked up a call.
Okay, mate, on our way. It's an access problem. It's just a lady's fallen on the beach, and it's just a long way to get down to the beach.
There's a land ambulance on the way, but the steep cliff path to the beach makes a rescue almost impossible. Unless you've got one of these. Today, Mick's in the back, and up front is second paramedic Steve Garvey and pilot Craig Webster. They're heading right across the peninsula from their base in Newquay to Whitsun Bay near Plymouth.
If it's just on the beach, it's not a problem for us to access. If it's if cliffs are involved and rocks, then that tends to be more the domain of the search and rescue guys. You know, we need quite a nice flat area to land in. But it's fairly common sort of call for us in the summertime around Cornwall. There's a lot of coastline that's difficult to access.
The air ambulance crews are specifically trained for this kind of stuff. Reaching the places that other crews can't reach is what this ambulance service is all about.
The tide's on our side, the low water is at 1 o'clock. So.
Yeah. Some beaches, you know, high tide become completely inaccessible to us. But as long as the tide's all right, we can get it pretty well. So.
There's an update on the casualty.
There's 735, so just a bit more information for you. She is conscious and breathing, complaining of head pain, and both her arms are hurting too.
Yeah, roger, that's all received. Right, eyes outside then. Look for somebody flapping.
News that the casualty's got a head injury makes the call out more urgent than they originally thought.
There's the ambulance at 9 o'clock.
But the steep cliffs mean the air ambulance crew definitely have the advantage.
I haven't actually got visual on the patient yet. Are they
On your 12 o'clock now.
near that purple tent? Or left of that?
1 o'clock below.
Oh yeah, okay.
They spot the casualty on a rocky bit of the beach, but the helicopter needs a nice flat place to land. A decent-sized patch of firm sand nearby is just the job.
Clear rocks your side, Steve?
All clear all the way through this side. I think we're going to be waiting a long time for anyone else to come down.
While the road ambulance crew wait at the top of the cliffs, down on the beach, extra helps arrive in the shape of some local lifeguards. They and Steve make their way across the jagged rocks. It's pretty treacherous underfoot, as our unlucky lady has already found out.
Hi. All right.
And Steve's about to discover poor Janet's taken a nasty knock. It's not quite the family day out she'd expected. In southwest Scotland, ambulance technicians Charlie Walker and Carol Ann McColm are blue lighting to another shoreline emergency. But they're struggling to find their casualty.
Excuse me, sir. You haven't had any reports of someone falling at the beach, have you? Nothing at all.
He's a man in his 80s, stranded on a beach somewhere that's not showing up on their sat-nav. He's got a suspected fractured hip, and there's a rising tide. It's getting desperate. They've combed the area around Borg, moving east along the coast from Carrick Bay. Time and tide wait for no man.
5010, we've scoured quite a large area at this location and we're struggling to find anyone over.
Roger, I'll try and call it back down so we can get a further location over.
Finally, just as it all starts to seem hopeless, they discover the right beach.
Hi, Dougie. Yeah, I can see him just over there.
The centre's to see wood. That's
right.
it.
But if you get to that bend, it'll be easier to get a look for there.
Okay, cheers.
Thankfully, the Coast Guards managed to get here first.
Hello there.
Hi, this is John. He's cut his hip and he was...
Hello, John. I'm Caroline. What happened?
Well, I was in with the dog and it was during the ball between wife and son, and I stepped back and I stood on a rock and I fell back, you see. And I fell into my hip.
Right.
And I just felt a crack.
You felt right,
okay.
You know, you see, I have two false knees to start with.
Two false knees, right.
And I...
Which
John, I'll tell you what.
Right leg.
It's your right one.
I can see it.
During his hour-long wait, passers-by have already moved John up the beach, twice, and without pain relief. But with the water lapping at their heels, they need to move him again.
The gentleman was wet and he was in pain. He also said he had pain in the top of his leg. But to treat it as he possibly had a fracture of his hip.
Even the slightest movement is excruciating. Gas and air helps dull the pain.
We'll all get round them now. We'll use the canvas as a support. We'll put them in that and we'll get them up the picture. But before we immobilise, just with the tide still coming in.
John, did you hear that, sir? John, just take as much as that as you can so that it'll numb the pain, sir, okay?
And 1, 2, and lift. That's you.
This is the third time John's been moved out of reach of the tide. Even on the rigid stretcher and with pain relief, it's really tough going. And not just for John, for his wife Edith too.
It's just laughing gas, okay?
But John needs to hang in there a bit longer. They've still got to splint his leg and get him into the ambulance. Coming up, the race is on to rescue a second holidaymaker off the Cornish beach.
We're getting slightly time pressured now. We've got an incoming tide which isn't too far away.
The ordeal's not over yet for poor John on the Solway coast. But first, there's a burning issue to deal with in Penzance.
As I opened the bonnet, it exploded in my face and covered me in red-hot engine oil.
In Cornwall, the sun is shining and the surf's up. The world-famous waves pull in thousands of riders, all looking for the best breaks and the best beaches. With the thrills come the spills. Many surfers end up in one of the UK's most far-flung hospitals, in the harbour town of Penzance, at the West Cornwall Hospital Urgent Care Centre.
Okay.
It's a special unit open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Can you feel that?
No.
There's obviously got a nerve damage there.
Its GPs and nurses are all upskilled to deal with the wide range of cases that come in. More than just minor injuries, not quite full-on A&E. Daniel's a surfer. He's had an accident, not on the waves, but on the way home in his van. Friend Benji's turned up to help keep a smile on his pal's face. Senior staff nurse Marie McLaren does the serious stuff.
Have a look at this head wound now. You've got a red patch around there, and you've got some slight skin loss just over it.
Just been for a surf at Cadreevy, and then we're driving up the A30 and the engine warning light came on, so I thought I'd open the bonnet and have a look myself. And as I opened the bonnet, it exploded in my face and covered me in red-hot engine oil. It was like a volcanic eruption in my engine. I opened the bonnet, and as I put my hand on the coolant tank, the cap just went bang, blew off, and then everything that was in the engine came out, and it is literally up the windscreen, over the roof of the van, complete engine compartment, and all over the road. So
he's a muppet, basically, isn't he?
Fortunately, when it exploded on my face, I had a pair of sunglasses on, so they took the brunt of it. I didn't get any in the eyes, otherwise I'd have been in a lot more pain now. So, right, yeah, I'd probably been somewhere else, I should imagine, having my eyes treated. Doesn't bear thinking about, really. I'm quite lucky. Yeah. Probably sink in when I get home just how lucky I am, I should imagine. Yeah.
Daniel's also lucky he had a quick-thinking pal with him who tipped water over his head, instantly cooling the burning oil. A power shower back at the hospital has got most of the rest of it off.
Okay. What I'll do, I'll get the doctor just to come and sort of check everything, and then we can pop a dressing on there. Alright, get them to have a look.
Going to end up with a big head bandage.
Dr. Patrick Farrell has a good poke about to make sure they haven't missed anything.
Absolutely nothing to see, which is good news. So I think you've been extraordinarily lucky.
Yeah.
Masterly inactivity is the right treatment. And it will all get better on its own.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you very
I'll
much.
let you escape.
Thank you.
Your chums throwing a bucket of water over you undoubtedly made a huge difference to the outcome.
Yeah.
Saved you a lot of misery.
We had a large 5-litre drinking bottle of water, and he just grabbed it and tipped it straight over my head. And well, yeah, he saved me really there.
Good old Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, good Mr. Wilson. Cheers, Phil.
Daniel's good to go.
He's looking good. Looking good.
But Marie's not finished with him just yet. His clothes were trashed in the accident, so he's leaving in hospital haute couture.
Walking out this, I feel like I'm escaping from the ward, running.
You should definitely get for a pint in town now when you dress up like that.
I'm not sure that's quite the attitude, lads.
Take you home. Take you home.
In Cornwall, the air ambulance team have been called out to a holidaymaker who's slipped and fallen on rocks.
Clear rocks your side, Steve? All clear.
Air ambulance paramedic Steve Garvey hooks up with RNLI lifeguards who've hot-footed it from further along the bay. Along the rugged Cornish coast, land, sea and air rescue services must all pull together to help people in need.
Hi. All right.
They reach the casualty who's still lying where she fell.
Janet, is it? Have you got any neck or back pain or anything? Not knocked out at all? No. Are you on your own here, Janet?
No, we're all together.
She's mother-in-law.
Tell me if I'm hurting you too much, you know, if it hurts or anything.
Janet's family are concerned.
We've come for a day out with the children, and unfortunately my mother-in-law's come and made it down the path there, and she stumbled down the rocks, gone head first and split the head open at the top there. So lots of blood from the head wound. Difficult for us to get her back up, so we figured it best to call for some professional help.
The worst of your pain centred around the top of your head here?
Yes.
Do you feel nauseous at all? Okay, you remember everything that's happened? Okay. Have you got any pins and needles anywhere or any such thing?
No, that one did it. Well, I've put that one.
Have you been moving yourself at all other than...
No.
Because there are so many blood vessels close to the surface under the scalp, head wounds do bleed a lot. But in this case, it's not as bad as it looks.
Right, well, let's give you a hand to get up.
I'm all right.
Is that a lot better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Steve updates his colleagues in the waiting helicopter so they can let the road ambulance crew know what's happening.
I'm just trying to liaise with Mick. This lady's got very, very minor wounds. So it's just a simple head injury. So what she needs is just to go into a minor injury unit, the APD department, to get the wound closed. So at this stage, we're thinking about possibly using the helicopter to lift her up to the ambulance crew so she can have a nice, easy journey into hospital.
All right, you all right?
Yeah.
Just get your bearings, because you've been had a tumble, sat down.
Turn round. Yeah.
How do you feel?
Headachy, but otherwise all right.
Okay. I'll guide you into the aircraft with my colleague there, okay?
Can I take the dinner with me?
If you like.
Can I have my bag?
It's a good sign that Janet's still got her appetite.
I'll just guide her in now, mate. I'll guide her in.
The family's got a bit of a hike back up to the top, while Janet gets a lift.
You're comfortable there, Janet? Yes, thank you. Lovely.
But she's barely settled and the ride's over. And for the walk down to the ambulance, she's found a couple of nice young men to escort her.
705,
But for the helicopter boys, it's about to get a whole load more complicated. Another urgent call's come in for a second incident not far away.
We've let her go with the ambulance crew that's there. Now we can go and attend this other lady, which is just a bit further down the beach. All we know at this stage is a possible fractured hip.
The air ambulance guys need to get airborne again quickly, but there's a problem. Paragliders have taken to the skies. It's not safe to take off. From a rescue off a Cornish beach to another on the Solway coast in southwest Scotland. John's afternoon stroll with his wife and their dog has turned into something of a nightmare.
And 1, 2, and left.
His suspected hip fracture is excruciating, and more than an hour after he fell, John's condition is deteriorating. He's on Entonox to ease the pain. It's tough for John, but vital they immobilise his leg.
Sorry, madam. John, we're just making these trousers now, Bermudas.
Don't send us the bill for your trousers.
We're going to lift this leg and put a splint in to support it. You try and keep sucking and grab Dougie's arm.
That's
Sorry,
it.
my darling.
That's it, done.
Securing his leg is essential. Even though John hasn't got outward signs of bleeding, a sharp broken bone moving inside his hip or leg could wreak havoc.
Hey John, what we're going to do is we'll go you in this board.
Aye.
We're going to lift you up to the ambulance, okay?
Right.
Getting him off the beach has been a real team effort. But John's ordeal isn't over yet. He's still got to be transferred onto the ambulance stretcher.
Hey John, I'm afraid we've got to put another wee stretcher in below you.
Aye.
To get you across, okay?
Right.
1, 2. Great stuff. Yeah. Right, I'll take your belt.
Right.
And just ease you.
Aye.
1, 2. Cuddle
2.
time.
Just do 1, 2, and lift. That's us. So just pull it down the way. That's us clear.
At last he's in, but he's suffering from cold and shock.
I think they must have saw every piece of coastline before they got to you.
Aye.
It's a 30-mile journey to hospital in Dumfries. A vacuum mattress keeps him secure.
Suction pulls the air out of it and you can form it around the patient's legs, which applies a kind of splint, plus it cushions it because of the distance it will have to travel. It makes it a lot better for the patient travelling.
Carol Ann is keeping a close eye on John's vital signs.
You're still a bit cold. Your pulse is coming up normally now. Your oxygen saturations are still a bit low. You don't need me to tell you the way your leg, you know, your right leg has shortened. So it's fairly indicative that, you know, probably your right hip, you know, has gone.
Yes, I think that's what I think.
You knew that before, probably before I
yeah.
told you.
Yeah.
But what we'll do, we'll get you in as quickly as we can and smoothly, depending on the traffic on the road.
Absolutely.
And then they'll take you in, and then we'll hand you over to casualty, and they'll X-ray it, and then they'll decide the plan from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Finally, after his long, wet wait and Carol Ann and Charlie's frustrating search to find him, John's where he needs to be. It's been a long journey to get here, but at least now he's got a bit of colour back in his cheeks.
You brought half the beach with you, I think.
Aye.
Yeah.
The water was coming in. I was in the water.
Yeah, 3 men had to get them.
Over 400 miles away on the southern tip of England, life in Penzance revolves around the sea and the coastal waters. But working on a boat isn't always plain sailing, and staff at the town's urgent care centre are old hands when it comes to dealing with all sorts of injuries. Local ferryman Les has come in with a mystery complaint, a spot of indigestion and a painful knee. Senior staff nurse Verity Harding checks him out.
Are you able to bend the knee at all so that you're in this kind of position?
I think I will be able to, but it might take a while.
I'm here till 9, don't worry.
Oh, it's getting sore.
Can you tolerate that?
Yeah, it's like I know.
Let me know when it hurts. So apart from your... Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that hurt.
Do you see if we can keep it down here? Apart from your indigestion, any other medical problems at all?
No.
You're not on any inhalers?
That's sore.
I'm really sorry about this. So the reason I need to feel around here is to help me find out what's going on. Okay.
It's really sore.
Do you want me to carry on with your examination or do you want me to stop? Because I would like to examine it so I can try and find out what's wrong, but if you're taking my hands off you, it makes me think that you don't want me to have a look.
It's really, really painful.
I can understand it completely. I'm not going to make your symptoms worse by examining you. What I'm going to do is understand what's happening to your leg so we can sort out what's going on.
Yep, carry on.
Okay. What I'd like to do, because it does feel a bit warm, it's very, very sore to touch. I'd like to take some bloods from you and see if I can find out a bit more about what's going on. You haven't had any recent injuries around here?
No.
No.
That's what's weird about it.
And you haven't had any previous operations, but you're really, really, really tender. Even if we get to the bottom and find out what's happening with this, judging by the amount of pain you've got, I really think you're going to struggle to get back to work today.
Les skippers the ferry from the mainland to the little island of St Michael's Mount, a few miles along the coast from Penzance. Walkable when the tide's out, at high tide, it's boat or nout. Les won't want to be losing business. It's high summer and peak tourist season.
I was working and then I had to stop and I just wondered what was happening. It's not good for that sort of job, holding a boat in and stuff, so I'll have to hand it over to the apprentice.
With 24 years' experience under her nursing belt, Verity is working on a well-informed hunch.
I think he's most likely got gout, which is a kind of metabolic disorder where they get crystals forming in the joints, and it's really, really unbelievably painful. And it can come on exactly as he said, although sometimes they tell you they've had a minor bump a couple of days before. But I can't miss him having septic arthritis, which needs sort of to go to, if he does, he needs to go to theatre today to have it washed out.
Septic arthritis is nasty. Bacteria get into a joint causing serious inflammation. Left untreated, it can be life-threatening. A blood test should hopefully rule out septic arthritis. While she's got Les here, Verity wants to be thorough in her diagnosis.
It's prudent to get an X-ray because it will just show that his knee's normal, because I don't want to see anything abnormal, because I'm looking to make sure that he hasn't got anything sinister really that could show up on X-ray.
I'm going to push this up a little bit behind you. Good.
Les won't have to wait long to know what's what. Instead of sending bloods away for testing, upskilled nurses in this rural unit can do their own. Nurse Fiona Wright will have Les's results in around 15 minutes. The X-rays will show what's going on inside the knee joint. They can't pick up gout, but could flag up Verity's worst fears.
His bones look nice and healthy. I'm not seeing lots of arthritis. I'm not seeing a huge swelling in the joint. Results are basically that everything's normal, so that means he doesn't have septic arthritis. So I'm working through with the presumption that he has gout. So I will give him some stronger painkillers. He couldn't have stronger painkillers earlier because he had a pint on the way up here, which is fair enough. His knee hurt him and he wasn't sure what to do.
Well, as they say, a little bit of what you fancy does you good. Or in Les's case, maybe not.
In all honesty, it looks like gout. It's really tender to touch. It's a bit red. It's not shiny yet, but it'll probably get shiny later. And you need to rest this.
Any idea of when that might be better-ish? Couple of days?
Well, no, it's going to be more than a couple of days. You're going to be laid up for most of the week. Right, I shall go and sort out crutches, printed information and pain relief for you. Okay, any questions?
No.
It's a surprise result for Les, but he's not alone. There's over 500,000 gout sufferers in the UK.
I've heard people say about gout before, but didn't realise it's painful like that. That's yeah, it's pretty tough. Need to get it better quick, so yeah.
What that's likely to mean is a change in diet, cutting out the foods that make the condition worse. But if he sticks to the rules, he should be able to keep his symptoms at bay and get back to the boat. Earlier, the Cornwall Air Ambulance picked up injured holidaymaker Janet.
You're comfortable there, Janet? Yes, thank you. Lovely.
But now there's another emergency further along the bay. While Janet gets treated in the ambulance, the helicopter's needed urgently for a second airlift, a girl with a possible hip fracture. But there's a problem.
So I think they're heading in that direction. If they give us enough room, we can get out.
This part of Cornwall's coastline is popular with paragliders, and today's weather is perfect. The air ambulance gang are ready to leave, but can't take off.
We're not sure where they're going to go next. Of course, if the wind drops or if they have a problem, you know, it's unpredictable as to where they might go. So, obviously, a helicopter and a paraglider isn't a good mix.
And that's putting it mildly. The Coast Guards head off to try and warn them away.
I have a feeling that once the air ambulance takes off, they will get the message fairly sharply, and they'll be on their jolly way. In the meantime, we'll do what we can to keep them away.
Attention, hang glider!
Turns out you can't beat a loud hailer. The air ambulance crew are back in business. Today's a real scorcher, and Whitsun Bay's 3 miles of beaches and rocky inlets are mobbed. Lifeguards are already with the casualty and have set a flare to help the helicopter find them.
Look out for some smoke. It's in front of the lifeguard hut, apparently, which I think was sort of down here somewhere. But there were 3. Is that smoke down there? Okay, right.
That's a clear area. There's a clear area in front of the smoke of a sandy beach there.
Okay. I think we're okay to land down there, aren't we? Well, we have got a huge amount of holiday makers there.
What time's high tide?
High tide is
about 6, something like that.
There is an incoming tide.
I'm making a quick assessment on how she is.
The rising tide means pilot Craig's got to keep his wits about him. His choice of a landing spot is limited as he steers clear of the rocks and the crowds.
Yeah, we've got a golden teenage female who takes hit. She believes that it's happened on more than one occasion, but she's never been in this much pain afterwards. She's alert and responsive. She's currently on Entonox. Yeah, we've got her on Entonox already. Making her slightly dizzy, so she's only taking short intakes at a time. But she seems okay, and she's in pretty good mood.
Alex, tell me what's going on today? Dislocated your left hip? Knee, it was knee, I was told hip, okay. And this goes out regularly?
Yeah.
And what were you doing when this happened? You weren't doing any running?
I was running and dislocated. Just twisted out of place.
16-year-old Alex is on holiday with her family, and she's a little camera shy. It's not the first time her dad Peter has seen her knee pop.
We'd gone around the point where there's a really beautiful pool,
and she was just running along the beach, and she went off sideways. The kneecap was dislocated. She put it back in, but she's still in a lot of pain, and there's no way we're getting her up the cliff. That's the problem. She's dislocated it before, but never in such an awkward place.
The lifeguards have given Alex gas and air to relieve the pain. Steve needs to splint her knee before they can move her. But he gets a warning call from the chopper. The tide's coming in fast.
We're getting slightly time pressured now. We've got an incoming tide which isn't too far away, so what we need to do is get Alex onto the aircraft as soon as we can.
If the water gets above the helicopter's skids, it could get very difficult. Craig must get the chopper off the sand before that happens, and it's a matter of minutes away.
Yeah, if you could let the coasties on the beach know that we're going to move the casualty.
Ready, set, lift. Hereford Hospital.
Yep, got it.
If you need directions, come up to the unit.
Don't worry, we know.
Good job the lifeguards are here to help, otherwise the tide might have won. She's in, and they're off.
Our water looked a bit close there. Yeah, the water was getting right around the skids of the aircraft. We didn't have a lot of time left.
Back on the cliff top, it's time for the second handover of the day.
It is a beach that's notorious for access problems, so whilst the patients have relatively minor injuries, the helicopters proved invaluable in getting them off the beach into the ambulance. How's that? Brilliant. There we are.
Right.
With Janet already up back, that makes 2. Steve seems keen to make it 3.
Well, we'll see if we can go and find you another one, eh? Yeah.
The air ambulance guys have had their work cut out for them this afternoon. Just 2 hours since the first call, double rescue complete.
All's worked out for the 2 patients. They've all received the appropriate treatment, and we're now free to treat someone else.
It's been all go for Britain's rural emergency services. It turned out John's hip was intact, but he had a bad break to his thigh bone. Now, with steel pins in his leg and plenty of physiotherapy, he's on the road to recovery. Janet didn't need hospital attention. She had her wound closed by her lovely ambulance crew and has recovered well. Daniel's burns have healed, leaving hardly any scarring, but he's not planning to hit the catwalk anytime soon. And who says nothing happens in the countryside?